Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Mavri here with episode 6 of Hanakokun. So, we are caught up with the main series. Before we go on, just some quick clarifications because there are some people who were commenting on what I said last episode about Minamoto Senpai, the older brother of Minamoto, being the antagonist. Now, I'm not meaning it in the sense where he's the main antagonist of the entire story. For instance, in lots of shonen works, you always get into this situation where, at least for that particular point of the story, like a specific arc or whatnot, or up to, it's like, in most cases, maybe the 1/10th mark or something of a story, you'll have this antagonist character. Right now, after you defeat them and yada yada yada, a lot of times they might become friends or companions or so on and so forth, and that's what I'm getting at here. Obviously, I don't think that he's going to be the main antagonist of the entire series, but at least for this initial arc, he is going to be one of the antagonist characters. And in shoujo, a lot of the times it just so happens to be that the particular antagonist of the, let's call it antagonist of the week, is in a lot of times an ikemen, right? A handsome guy, pretty boy, something like that. Now, just how if the story with Minamoto, the younger brother, went on a little bit more, I would also be calling him an antagonist as well, at least at that moment, right? Now, they reconciled rather quickly since he is one of the main characters, so, that's... I'm not saying, when I'm saying antagonist, I'm not just saying for the entire series. So, just wanted to clarify that. But anyways, back to the current episode at hand. It seems that we are in store for a Hanako versus Hanako battle, if the foreshadowing from last episode is anything to go by, which features a dark Hanako, let's say. So, let's just get into the episode and see if that is the case. Alright, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. Okay. I've never heard of the 4 o'clock library. Although there are a few other works that feature library humors. I think I've only seen them in anime and manga though. If we're in episode 6 here... I wonder if we might resolve the entire situation with the Elder Minamoto. Maybe by the end of this season? Okay, definitely haven't heard of something like this before. Yay, it's okay. So cute. Ah, but what if it's a red book? I'm guessing this is probably a result a result of the girl. This is, I guess, what you can call Kuro Rikishi? Which translates to Black History, or basically some cringeworthy memories. Hey, it's red. Your legs are just too fat. Ooh. Talk about creepy. Oh, because it's still, yeah. Still sealed. Hmm. I wonder if Hanako works on the principle of if you call his name, he'll appear. Now it's this dude. I think he's actually also an important character. I think, yeah, he's definitely also of the supernatural. I think I saw him in the opening. Ah, I love his voice. But I'm not sure if his voice fits this character. Well, I mean, if you're going for a devil, maybe. Sama. He works for Five? Oh, wait, he is Five? Hmm. Hey, it's Echo. Oh, he's a spy. Ah. Oh, okay, so they're referring to him. Well, they did say he was the one in charge of handling everyone. That seems, yeah, rather extreme. Wouldn't you already know that? I'm not sure if that makes. Wouldn't he already know their secrets? Like, if he just reads their. Okay. Yeah. Oh, still. Oh. Hatsukashi. Wait, so he. So again, I'm not really sure about why he needs to do this if he already knows about this. I want to know as well. That's a. I literally just had a donut today. Yeah, because he already knew about anything, right? Of course, he was just playing with them. うん。I guess he might have another test in store for her. さくら。Oh, what exactly is it? Mhm. うん。I love how he's always smoking the Kiseru. I actually have one as well. It's especially in this modern day and age, it's not really practical, but hey, it looks cool. Don't tell me this is Hanako. So he reverts to being a spider? Oh, we actually get. It's him! So his name is Yugi. So he was bullied? Yugi. So he was actually his teacher. I was wondering about that when he called him sensei before they parted.
落ちてきたんだ。本物って言ったら信じる？
いや。
だよね。でも俺たちは本物だって信じてる。誰がなんて言おうと月の石なんだよ。月と地球ってどんくらい離れてると思う？ズバリ38万キロメートル。つまりこいつは月面からそれだけ旅してきたんだよ。すげえでしょ、俺の宝物。
遊戯、今は月じゃなくてお前の話。
見て見て。
聞け。
先生、今日はもう月。
For this to be a very important thing for the sensei.
ほどけてるし。
先生は月に行きたいって思ったことある？
あ？
俺はあるよ。月ってでっかくて綺麗じゃん。だからなんかすげえいいとこな気がしたい。
危ね
え。ねえ、先生は俺のこと心配してくれてんだよね。なら一個だけわがまま聞いて。
いいよ。
やり。
So he was always like this.
言ってよ。
宝物じゃないのか。
うん。俺ね、この石見てると自分もどこにだって行けるような気がしてた。でももうどこにも行かないって決めたから。
Not to go anywhere.
目が覚めたか。
先生、
おう。
今のって。
2番の時も見たろ。よりしろに宿ってた記憶だ。
じゃあ先生が言ってた未来を変えた人って。
遊戯やまね。昔の7番だ。
昔の花子くん。
あの日の前日、人類は初めて月へ行った。月へ行くってのは、あの頃は夢物語の類だったよ。それが現実になった。なら他のどんな夢だっていずれ実現するんじゃないか。
So that was like what, 50 years ago?
どこへだって行けるはずだ。世間様がそんな希望に満ちている中、
50 odd years ago.
どこにも行かないと。そういったあいつ俺は担任として心配している。ふりをしていた。
ふり？
ああ。俺はあいつの未来の記述を読んでいて、教えろと言いながら、その身にこれから何が起きるのか知っていた。あいつの本にはな、将来教師になると書かれている。理科の教師だ。星月が講じてな。しかも勤め先はこの学園。生きてりゃ俺の同僚だったな。
So at this point, this sensei was already one of the wonders.
ガキのうちに死ぬはずじゃなかったんだがな。遊戯やまねは俺が知る未来を変えた唯一の人間だ。続くはずの未来を断ち、あの時の言葉通りどこへも行かず。
I wasn't expecting to get this much backstory in regards to him in this episode. No?
ろがさ、なんとなく変なんだけど、何か余計なこと言った？
さーて、俺のよりしろの話ならしましたがね。
Hmm.
よりしろね。
Doesn't Hanakokun?
そういや、土ごもりのよりしろ。
Oh, he doesn't
なん
know.
だと思います？
超いやらしいもん。
ちげえ。
だよね。
He doesn't know.
は？
Hmm. Donuts? Okay. Well, see you guys after this. Alrighty, so we have another fun episode, and we got a lot of information, right? I was honestly not expecting that to happen this early on into the series. I thought we were gonna have a lot more of basically the same going around to solve different solve the problems of different wonders or different school happenings, school rumors, stuff like that, and maybe we'll get some of the backstory by the end of this season. But hey, that is great, right? Some few things to talk about for this episode. Once again, I do really enjoy the humor, particularly for the parts where Yashiro is talking about her embarrassing stuff like that was hilarious to me. Anyways, and in particular, I like to mention one thing. I like to do my reviews in a sort of fashion where I can also talk about some trivia stuff, right? As you guys might guess from the first episode, although it might not entirely be related with the specific apparition or spirit. So the thing I was actually going to talk about was the poem that Yashiro composed. So I mean, if you look at just directly its translated meaning from the subtitles and whatnot, you can guess that it's a very embarrassing poem, right? Talking about her experience with Hanako and so on and so forth. But I love that it actually went even one step further. So if I don't know how familiar you guys are with Japanese characters or Japanese kanji in particular, but you guys might have seen before when a kanji is being put in written form, you might have the small hiragana or katakana on top of it, which is there sort of like to tell you how to read it, right? Because kanji is really hard and there's tons and tons, thousands of kanji, and even in daily lives of Japanese people, they don't really use that many kanji. Some are more common and some are very uncommon, right? So particularly for the uncommon ones, it's actually required to put these sort of guidances on how you can read them, right? Here, however, in particular, she's using a concept that's very popular in light novels and anime works as well, and that is called a teji. And that is basically where you can write basically whatever kanji you want, and then using the areas allotted for telling people how to read it, you can put in whatever you want, right? So even though on paper it looks like the original kanji has one certain meaning, it's actually read as something else entirely, and that would be in some cases the actual meaning of it, in some cases sort of like just playing around with the words. So here in particular there were two cases of it actually. One was Himitsu Shoki, which they translate to as mysterious here. So they actually use the kanji, the four kanji for Himitsu Shoki, which within the poem, that's how she should have read it, right? Himitsu Shoki. However, she actually read it with a borrowed word, with a loaned word from English, which is directly saying mysterious, except in Japanese katakana. And so that is one part of it. Another part of it would be at the very end there with the kanji for heart, and yet when she read it, she read kokoro. Sorry. I'm sorry. The kanji is actually in Japanese it's read kokoro, but she read it directly as heart. So English heart. So it's actually doubly funny for me once I saw that, because I mean, I guess even if you don't have any understanding of Japanese, you would find it kind of hilarious how she's mixing in English words with Japanese directly there. But her usage of this actually signifies that she is a chuuni, basically, because that's what chuuni like to do. Chuuni bills, which are oh man, that's like an entire another explanation I have to go for. Just chuuni, right? I mean, we all here are people who like to watch anime, who like ACG works. I'm sure most of you guys should know what a chuuni actually is, a chuuni bill. And if not, well, go Google it, because I think that is a little bit too hard to for me to articulate, and that's really kind of going on a tangent here. So to me, that part was perhaps even more funny than if I did not understand the implications of her putting in this kind of action and putting this kind of spin on things. But yeah, that was just as an aside. So we got the sensei, the teacher, the spider, and also the fifth apparition, I think, Tsuchigomori. And by the way, he's voiced by Tsuda Kenjiro, who is honestly one of my favorite male voices in the voice acting industry. I guess, I don't know, does his voice fit this or not? He voices a lot of these kind of demon characters, or more, how should I say it, more cool, hard characters, I guess you could say. And the art style of this anime in particular doesn't seem entirely fit for that, but I guess it still works in a certain way. But that was definitely not what I expected him to sound like at all. But again, that's kind of on another tangent there. One thing to note is he mentioned, well, not particularly him, but Hanako, while he was talking and explaining the entire situation, we also learned a few more things, right? Number one is that we know the underlying reason why they're supposed to go to all these different apparitions, these different wonders, and sort of defeat them, whether willingly or unwillingly, and ask for their Yorishiros, right? Which is, I guess, just an explanation for what we're doing here. And the second part is, I think, also a foreshadowing, and that is how he said that there are some people, some humans within this school who actually aren't humans and are actually apparitions or spirits or ghosts or whatnot, similar to the sensei here, right? So I guess that's a foreshadowing, and particularly in that scene, we see a lot of the other classmates of Nene. So that's something, I guess, to look forward to in the future, maybe. But yeah. But the real big thing about this episode would probably be all the information in regards to Hanako, right? So first of all, we know his real name, Yugi Amane. And then we also see him back when he was just a student in this school, right? And by the way, I made a small mistake here. So I mentioned, because we have a timeline, right? So the flashback happened in 1969 during the Apollo 11 moon landing, which is 51 years from now. And that's what I mentioned. However, this book was actually published back in 2014, the original manga, so I guess 40-something years have passed since then, and Hanako or Yugi has been a wonder for perhaps that long, maybe? Just to let us know a sense of the time scale of things. We see that he definitely has some school problems. He's being bullied and so on and so forth. And to me, that would lead me to believe that he actually has some family problems as well, because that's how these things typically go, right? It's normally they have some stuff going on in their lives, back at home, back in their family, and that is how they project themselves into this outside environment, and it's a result of that. Right. So I do wonder here if at the root of it, we are going to go back and see what his family is like. Another reason why I believe that is because the object of this episode, the Yorishiro, was basically a moon rock given to Tsuchigomori by Yuki, right? And he actually said something that was quite peculiar to me. He said, "We believe that this is a moon rock," right? We, an emphasis on we. So what does this we actually mean? He found it when he was 4. and saying that can only lead me to believe that it has something to do with his family, his parents, so on and so forth, right? And then obviously that's one of his big treasures, and yet he's willingly giving it to Tsuchigomori, and so that to me signifies that something happened to this we here, which I assume is the family. So maybe something happened to his family, which is causing him to not really give a shit about this moon rock anymore, or I guess in this case, give up on life, right? Give up on his original aspirations, and so that's how it leads to the very end there, where he says he's not going anywhere, and also a complete change in trajectory of his life. So that's basically what I'm inferring from this information that we have right now. Are we gonna get into it in this season? I don't know. I know that this is a pretty. Is it a long manga? I don't really know if it's a long manga, but at the same time, I don't really believe that the story is going to be resolved just within one season of anime. So maybe this is something that we will revisit later on while we get more information in regards to Yugi/Hanako. Then again, I say that, but I also wasn't expecting us to get this much information this early as well, so who really knows? But yeah, that's basically it. That's it for this episode. Oh, and by the way, I do love at the very end how they all rushed to the infirmary to visit Nene, and Yako and Moke were there as well. So it looks like we got ourselves a full crew, and not just Minamoto, Nene, and Yuki. I don't know whether I want to call him Yuki or Hanako. I think I will stick with Hanako, right? Because he's basically already given up on his former life. He's Hanako now. So I think I'll just continue to call him Hanako in the future. So there we go. That was it for episode 6. For the next week, I gotta apologize in advance. I'm actually going on vacation in Japan to go snowboarding. So next week's episode will be a bit delayed by perhaps 3 or 4 days. So I'll record it once I get back from Japan. That's just the way it is. I'm not really able to do recordings while I'm on vacation without my equipment and whatnot. So, you guys will have to wait a little bit, but hopefully you guys will still come back once it eventually releases. So, there you go. See you guys, in the not so far future, I hope, and I will see you guys next time.